This video, I'm gonna share my ideas on why I prefer the wooden dummy, to train with the wooden dummy over the human being. Um, it's an excellent training tool. You know, it's always there for you. Like, any time of the day, it's there to train. It's ready to train. It's reliable. You know, I could come here at any time and it's ready. But with a human being's not reliable. Human beings, like, they come late, they don't show up at all, they lose motivation, they quit. And every single human being that I train with, I have to teach them how to move properly, how to do the techniques properly, proper form. There's so much involved in teaching them. Like, basically, when you're working with a human being, no matter if you're doing drills, no matter if you're doing focus mitts, no matter if you're sparring, it's all about flowing together. It's all about working together. It's all about, like, it's almost like a dance. And you might know how to dance, but whoever you're sparring with, whoever you're doing drills with, whoever you're doing focus mitts with, a lot of times they don't know what they're doing. 99% of the time, they don't know what to do, and then you gotta show them, you gotta teach them, and that takes a lot of time. And with the wooden dummy, you don't gotta worry about any of that. It's always ready, it's always there, and it's always a challenge. That's another thing. Like, a human being is not a challenge. A human being, it depends on who it is, but a lot of times they don't give you a challenge. Like, you want to condition your arms, and then you hit your arms against another human being, and then they bruise up, they get hurt. Then they quit training because they're too hurt. But with a wooden dummy, you'll never break the wooden dummy. You could always hit it as hard as you can with your forearms, and it's not going to get phased. But with a human being, you're going to hurt them. With the wooden dummy, you could condition your fists, your palms, your fingers, your entire hands, your forearms, your shins. It's always there to help you condition your body. But a human being, he's not going to give you that. He's not going to help you condition your fists. He might be able to help you condition your forearms, maybe your shins a little bit. The human being, what he's good for is training for reaction. So he could throw punches at you, throw kicks at you, try to tackle you, try to hold you, try to grab you, try to throw you. Basically, he could serve to do that, but if he doesn't know what he's doing, then he can't really help you. He doesn't know how to punch, doesn't know how to kick, doesn't know how to do anything. Then you gotta teach him all that. And by the time you teach him all that, he might have quit already. And then now you've lost a valuable training tool. But with a wooden dummy, you could use imagination in order to nearly fulfill the same benefits as if a human being was throwing punches at you. You can imagine that with the wooden dummy, one of the arms sticking out, that's a punch coming at you. You gotta learn how to move out the way. You can imagine that one of the arms is a kick coming at you. You gotta learn how to move out the way. The human being is just, it's not a reliable way of training. Yes, the human being is a good supplement, but it's just not reliable like the wooden dummy. And that's my view on it. I've trained with so many different people in my life. I've trained with the wooden dummy. I train by myself, with and without equipment. And of course I could always train by myself without equipment. But when you have equipment as well, it just makes the training so much more dynamic. You know, with the wooden dummy, the weight sets, the dumbbells, the pull-up bars, and all these training equipment is great. What the human being is good for is training with together. So if you both are training the wooden dummy, you're doing your thing, the other person's doing his thing, that's great. It's like sharing energy, you know, like you're lifting weights, the other person's lifting weights, he's not holding you back, you're not holding him back. You're only helping each other progress. That's great. Like feeding off of each other's energy is great. But what's a detriment is when you gotta like spoon feed and basically baby step people towards learning what you already know. Now, if you're a teacher and that's what you're paid to do, then that's what you gotta do. But if you're not a teacher and you want to progress to your full potential, then another human being could really be a drawback towards your personal growth, especially when that human being is not reliable. It's like people that come in and out. They don't take it serious. You know, they'll come for a couple weeks. They'll come for a month, a couple of months, and then they don't come back. They disappear. And it's like all that time that you invested, all those hours that you invested into coaching them to be proficient in becoming a reliable sparring partner, it gets wasted. It's like creating a child and then the child dies after 2 weeks. Child dies after a month. Child dies after 3 months. Child dies after a year. It's like, what's the point? Like, you want to have a child because you want there to be a future. So the people that walk through the door and they don't take the training seriously, they're not reliable. They're like horrible training tools. I mean, you could use them for what you could use them for at that moment, but that's about it. It's like when you train in the martial arts, you could be training with the wooden dummy for many years to perfect your techniques. And then you could test it out on the humans. You know, when you get the opportunity, you find somebody that wants to practice, and you test it out on them. You're not necessarily, spoon feeding them. You're just basically sparring with them to test out what you know. And then during the process, they're learning in the process, because every time you're training with them and you're at a higher level, they're learning just from engaging in that experience with you. And then as you test out the techniques and you know what works and what doesn't, then you kind of, it just becomes something of ease. Like driving a car, riding a bike, shooting a gun, jumping rope, breathing, sleeping. It just comes with ease. A pull up, a push up, jumping. Like, there's no thought required. It just comes with ease. Like, there's nothing to, be concerned about. And I feel that when you get to a certain level of training, you don't even need the human, as far as like when combative training is concerned. It's just the wooden dummy is good enough. It gives you that challenge. It's like the difference between like wrestling with somebody and lifting weights. It's like the weights are always going to be there to help you get stronger. You don't need to wrestle around with another human being to get stronger. You could use the weights. The weights are always there, and you will get stronger. Wrestlers are strong too when they keep wrestling with each other, but then they become dependent on each other. Without each other, then it's like they can't train. But a martial artist is self-sufficient. He could train with people, he could train without people, he could train with equipment, he could train without equipment. He could train close to nature, by the trees, by the lake, by the water, by the river, by the mountains, by the animals. He could train out there, or he could train inside. He could train anywhere. If you had the opportunity to train with humans, and that's great. But if you don't, then a wooden dummy is an amazing training tool, that could essentially be more efficient than training with another human. Because when you get to a certain level, when you train so much, you're gonna be like so far ahead of like so many people out there that training with other people in combat doesn't even really help you anymore. It just kind of holds you back. It's like you bench pressing, and you're so good at it that you're benching like 225 pounds with ease, and then now you got a beginner walking through that's having trouble benching the bar. And then not only do you have to kind of babysit this person while he's benching the bar, but then this person forces you to bench press the bar too when you're way beyond that. You don't want to do that anymore. It's holding you back. And that's kind of how like sparring is. When you're trying to coach somebody how to spar, but they don't know what they're doing. And it takes a long time to teach that. And by the time you teach it, they already quit. So it's like, lifting weights, calisthenics, nobody can hold you back from achieving your own potential. Working with the wooden dummy, nobody can hold you back from achieving your potential. Practicing combat forms, nobody can hold you back from reaching your potential. But as soon as you partner up with somebody, you're working drills, you're doing sparring, you're doing focus mitts, they don't know what they're doing, it really holds you back. And that's what I don't like, about training with humans, that especially when they're not reliable, they don't show consistency, they don't show effort, they show laziness, and they quit so easily. And it's just like, it's a waste of time to even go through the combat with these people, because they don't care anyway. You're wasting your breath. It's like preaching to somebody, trying to educate somebody while they're sleeping. It's like they can't even hear you, they're sleeping. You're wasting your energy. So I see that only certain people should be, you should take that extra time to really help refine their skills in sparring and develop their combative ability. And those are like the loyal people that show consistency and hard work and commitment. But for the people that just come and go, it's just a waste of time. The teacher is better off putting his energies in developing his wooden dummy form or his techniques in the wooden dummy than to invest it in a student of whom is unreliable. So not all students are unreliable, but the students that are reliable, of course, they are excellent, in helping the teacher, the school progress to the next level. But there has to be like a foundation, and that foundation is commitment. You know, it's almost like a marriage where you build on something for many years. You build a family. But if there's no commitment there, then it's just a waste of time. Commitment is the key. You know, so a human being, you know, can't be replaced, but it has to be like a quality human being where they're committed, they work hard, they train hard, they're loyal. Then they could be an excellent training tool to help you progress beyond beyond what any type of equipment can help you progress in. But that's rare. Most of the people that you encounter are not that. They're just going to be a waste of time, you know, and it's better to just put your energies into reaching your full potential with the use of equipment, such as, you know, the wooden dummy, the punching bag, the bob dummy, the barbells, the weights, your own body, the calisthenics, the pull-ups, pull-up bars. Like, you could just train on your own, reach your full potential with the use of equipment. And when you have that rare opportunity to connect with another human being, then you can utilize that experience to your benefit for that moment. You know? But those are some of my thoughts and reflections on the benefits of training with the wooden dummy over a human being.